again, Big Time rolls out another mystery box sale. Is this countdown jackpot box worth it? Are your chances of securing a Time Warden better this time around? I'll be thoroughly analyzing and calculating the value of previous preseason mystery boxes. How does this sale compare? What is the real value of each box now? Stay tuned till the very end. I'll also be giving away 5 exclusive preseason invite codes, which is the only way new players can join right now. So if you need that, stay until the end. GM to all the new faces and returning strategists. Before we get to the new breakdown, a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You can lose money with crypto and NFTs. And also, crypto world moves fast. Always double check the latest updates before making any decisions. First, I echo the sentiment that a lot of players have with this many mystery box sales. It's a little ridiculous. While the game is an alpha, I agree there are bigger issues to resolve than another box sale, like fixing economic incentives, hourglass rarity issues, or just having a new and improved, quicker way to identify exploits and prevent them from ruining the economy and the token. I get that Big Time is still an alpha, but would it kill anyone just to make an official announcement to the community and constant updates that they've heard the concerns and are aware of the issues and working on a fix, not just for the major exploits that are causing a buzz, but even for the smaller concerns that are still important. Empathy goes a long way in showing that the Big Time team cares and is listening to the player base. I digress. Let's talk about the basics of this sale. The next sale is on the horizon, set for December 26th, staying on the trend of more consistent mystery box sales, with the last one on 12/15, 11 days ago. The countdown box is priced at $499.99 with a run of 5,000 units. That's a potential of nearly 2.5 million in revenue for the Big Time team. Let's dive into what this means for the players and the market. What's different this time? There's higher chances of getting a Time Warden compared to the previous sale, lower rarity floor and ceiling though, from rare to mythic. And not only have they kept a common Time Warden within the second item drop, but they included an Exalted Galactic Time Warden at an extremely low drop of 0.2%. But if a player hits, it's worth $4,418 currently. But the question is this worth it? While I'm going to be covering the value of the Countdown Mystery Box, there are major concerns on the demand of this box, especially with the failure of the last sale. More on this later, but just keep this in mind as we go through the numbers. Let's cover the key factor here, EV or expected value. You've probably heard me talk about this before, but for the new faces, here's a quick lowdown. It's about weighing the prices of what you could get from the box against the odds of actually snagging those items and then adding them all up. Keep in mind, this is a long game that we're playing, looking at what happens over numerous openings. Think of it as balancing the averages with chance. Our goal is a positive EV that weighs the box's cost. We're playing the odds over time that the value that we pull from these boxes will beat what we've paid. And if luck is not on your side, it can hit your wallet hard, and that's the gamble. Here are all the floor prices that I'm currently using, so reference this later because the prices are going to be constantly shifting, especially heading into the sale. Now, onto the EV details of the Countdown Mystery Box. The first item's EV stands at $552.35, which is lower than the $752.10 EV from the previous festive mystery box from the last video. And the secondary slot, which includes the time crystals and other items, it's $164.04, again lower than the previous sales EV of $230.21. The total EV for the Countdown box is $716.39. And even though this is lower than the previous box total EV of $982.31, because of the Countdown's price is lower, the EV values between the previous sale and this sale are actually close. The Countdown nets $216.40 positive EV, which is slightly lower than the Festives box positive EV of $232.32. But looking at the worst case scenario, it's still bleak at getting items valued at a meager $37.65. As always, a main draw for these boxes is a chance at getting a Time Warden, with the rare being at 12%, the epic at 12%, legendary at 7%, the mythic at 2.32%. This means there's a total of 33.32% chance of landing a Time Warden in your first item. As for the second item in the box, odds slightly go lower, where you get the Lunar Time Warden at a common, which is 19.8%, and the Galactic Exalted, which is at 0.2%, which gives 20% chance of finding a Time Warden in the second slot. Both decent odds of getting a Time Warden and better than the last sale. And if you've been doing the math in your head, that is a 46.66 chance of acquiring any Time Warden from the box, and for the extremely lucky, a 6.66 chance of snagging 2 Time Wardens in a single box. So how many countdown mystery boxes are needed for a Time Warden? The math averages to about 2.14 boxes, which essentially means opening 2 to 3 boxes to hit the mark, and then about 15.01 on average to get 2 Time Wardens. And then before we conclude, let's dive into the current dynamics and demand of the big time mystery box sales. While the Countdown Jackpot mystery box does show positive EV, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Let's line up the sale with all the previous preseason boxes that we're talking about, their current EVs, drop rates, marketplace prices, and only the Paragon and Tinker mystery boxes are currently above their sale price. The rest, they're trailing behind their initial price tags. But at the current marketplace prices, Tinkerer and Festive boxes both have a small positive EV of $65.48 and $68.25 each, with the Countdown having the highest EV and best odds, getting a Time Warden of all the preseason boxes, which makes sense, because why make a sale if the sale's not going to be better than the previous boxes or offer something different or something new? The Countdown box is the front runner, best EV, highest odds for a Time Warden, and that sounds great. But the last sale, the Festive Mystery Box, was a flop even with positive EV. It was slow to sell and barely sold. The Big Time team eventually yanked the sales page, but why? Was it mystery box fatigue? Was it the steep $750 tag? Was it the low chances to get a Time Warden, the anti-bot measures scaring off big spenders? And likely it was a mix of all of these factors. Given this, here is my stance. My big time budget is maxed out and tied up, but even if it wasn't, I'd wait to see how this sale pans out before diving in. Objectively, I would wait to watch if this sale is going to sell out before buying, especially if I was eyeing a Time Warden and was comfortable with the gamble, and also had enough funds to weather the variance. But honestly, I'm over it. I'm tired of seeing all these mystery box announcements with no communication for addressing bigger concerns of the community. I'd pass if I had the money, just from the frustration of just wishing we had a little bit more clarity. From what we're seeing, especially from the outside looking in, that the team's priorities are more skewed towards pushing sales rather than fostering communications with us, the community. It's like they're putting all their energy into the next big sale while the quality of their dialogue with players takes a back seat. We're seeing more promotional buzz and less substantial dialogue, and that's what's concerning. Now, to be fair, this might not accurately reflect Big Time's true intentions. Maybe there's more happening behind the scenes than we realize, and there probably is. But as players, our view is shaped by what's presented in front of us, and right now that view is dominated by a relentless stream of sales pitches with scant attention given to explaining game updates, addressing in-game issues, or clarifying the state of the in-game economy. There's more effort, or what appears to be more effort, put in to what is presented on the sales front than what is presented to explaining to what's happening to us as players. And it's this disconnect that leaves us guessing and frankly a bit frustrated. Now, I'm not saying that they need to spill every little detail, but at the very least address recurring big ticket issues that keep coming up that should be on their agenda, especially if it's not resolved, like the hourglass rarity issue. These aren't just minor gripes, but they're serious concerns that are driving players away. I've seen firsthand friends who are heavily invested in Big Time that are just walking away, selling everything, disillusioned by the team's approach. I get it. The team needs the funds to keep the game afloat. They need a startup runway to secure its future, but there's a balance to be struck, and it's not just about having financial cushion, but it's maintaining a connection to the player base, a connection that's frankly starting to fray. We all wonder how much revenue has Big Time been generating recently, and with all of these financial gains that they must be making, it's entirely feasible for them to bring on board or at least allocate a skilled communicator, someone who's not just savvy with words, but also understands the nuances of public relations and public perception. Someone who can bridge the widening gap between the team and the community. And it's more than just hiring a mouthpiece, it's about investing in a liaison who can consistently and effectively relay what's happening behind the scenes. This person could be a key to transforming how the community perceives and interacts with the team. And we need more than just updates. We need a window into the thought process, especially when it comes to economic decisions. Think of Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve. When he speaks, economists and investors hang on the every word. His speeches aren't just updates, they're insights. They illuminate the Fed strategy, clarify their thinking on economic policy, and give a sense of direction, and also allow investors and economists a way to strategize based on where they're going. And that's the type of communication that we've been craving from the Big Time team. Imagine if they did something similar, a live talk with a Q&A after, where they don't just tell us what's happening, but also why. Have it on the calendars like the Fed FOMC meetings, where the chair holds a press conference right after to discuss the major policy decisions and the economic outlook. Big Time can do something similar where they lay out their vision, explaining the reasoning behind their economic decisions, and really engage with the community's concern. That kind of transparency could be a game changer. So just show us some type of transparency, empathy, and effort, and not just silence. Yvonne's recent post on player experience, it's a step in the right direction, but the economic communication, managing expectations, addressing concerns, they're dropping the ball there. So that's where I stand with the Countdown Mystery Box, plus my current feelings about the communication of the Big Time team. As always, take a look at your options, think about how the market's playing out, and go with what works for you. Go with what you're comfortable with risking and what fits your own strategy. And if you enjoyed this video, then you might like this video next.